Hi, my name's Anthony. Welcome to another episode of Investing in the Real World, where I share deal stories and information from the trenches of commercial real estate in hopes that you may be inspired and that the information may help you with all your real estate investment goals. Today we're going to be discussing turnkey properties, specifically apartment buildings in West Los Angeles. These are turnkey assets and will be a great addition to any portfolio. Be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, and share with a friend. Okay, what's a turnkey investment property? Well, first let's start there. A turnkey investment asset would be something that is already stabilized. It's a keyword, stabilized, which means it already has pretty close to market rents. The units are generally all renovated and it's humming along. It's a good business, good machine, humming along and pumping out some good cash flow. So that means there really isn't any deferred maintenance. Now, you may be paying a higher premium as far as price per unit or price per foot, but you're getting an asset that is really good to go, and there's not going to be much maintenance. You're going to have a management place if you wish. You can manage it yourself, but you're going to have a great asset in a great location. This first property we're discussing is a 29 unit in the Pico Robertson area. This is a very nice asset. It's actually a new construction. Now, somebody buying an asset like this might be a middle market investor, might be a small institutional investor, could be a family private office, or maybe somebody who's capitalizing and exchanging their smaller portfolio to this one big larger asset. So this would be a luxury apartment building in Pico Robertson. Pico Robertson is an area in Los Angeles that is in the west side, pretty close to Beverly Hills, pretty close to the La Brea Tar Pits, pretty close to West Hollywood. It's kind of in a really nice pocket in Los Angeles. So a great location, new building. And when you're looking at this asset, you're like, sometimes you got to wonder, well, what is the exit in this play? Well, some properties like this, built like this, actually aren't that far removed from dividing up and selling off as condos because the way it was constructed. Because of course you have to get APNs and have an HOA and get those documents drafted, but it's really not that far removed for an investor. Okay, this could also be just a trophy property in your portfolio. So it's a great property in a great location with nice luxurious units, where you could just sit and collect cash flow, and over time you're going to be in a really good position. Now let's move on to the second property. This second property is a 15 unit in also the Pico Robertson area. This is about one block east of Doheny, and this property was rehabbed to be a turnkey asset now. So the group that owns it now purchased it, I believe, about 4 years ago, renovated the property, exterior and interiors, and got the rents. They had some turnover in units, really renovated those units, got some premium rents in there, and now it's a turnkey asset, a 15-unit apartment building in a great location. Now, originally it was a little bit of a dated, I think it's 60s or 70s construction, but somebody took that property, created value with it. It originally was a value add, now it is a turnkey asset and ready to go for the next investor. So there was a group, they were partners, they've had the property for quite some time, decided, now it's time for us to go our separate ways. I want to take my money and do something else. You want to take your money and do something else, and they decide to sell it. All kinds of reasons. It could be opportunity. Maybe there's a new property that they want to get their hands on, but all their capital is tied up in this property. Instead of refinancing, which means they'd go about to the bank and pull out money out of the property in the form of a loan to make that purchase, they decide, what? We're just going to sell the property and take all the equity we have and roll that into our new project, or maybe several projects. So there's a lot of different reasons why owners would sell a perfectly good apartment building. Now let's go to the third asset. The third asset is a little bit smaller. This is a 6-unit building in West Hollywood. This was actually listed by a really good friend of mine in West Hollywood. He and his brother listed this property. And this is a turnkey asset. Again, this is 60s vintage, but the interior of the units were renovated. The rents are looking great. So you're going to pay a little bit higher on the price per unit, but you're going to have a really good cap rate for the area in a really good location. So this is West Hollywood. For those familiar with West Hollywood, it's a really good location, not too far from the Hollywood Hills, pretty close to Beverly Hills. Great nightlife, great restaurants, and this would be a good location for a 6-unit apartment building. Now, what kind of investor would be buying this kind of property? I discussed already why somebody would be selling. Well, what kind of investor would be buying this property? It might be somebody who has a few smaller properties and they do something called a 1031 exchange where they sell those smaller properties, take the proceeds and invest in this. Maybe they just have one asset, but it's a luxury asset. Maybe they have a home in Hollywood Hills that they're renting out, and maybe they're making $6,000-7,000 a month. And that may sound good, but they're only renting to one tenant on one big house. So if there's any damage to that house, it's a big hit on the wallet. And if there's a vacancy, it's either 100% or zero. So this, by exchanging one asset into something like this, an apartment building, they're able to lower their risk and increase their cash flow over time. So this might be a good option for them. Or maybe it's just somebody who's looking to add a really nice asset to their portfolio. They've been expanding their portfolio. They're not looking to do any 1031 exchanges, but they might have some equity or save some money from the cash flow of the other properties, and now they're going to make this purchase and add it to their portfolio. So this might be, somebody who's just looking to get into a better area, or maybe they're already an owner in the area, familiar with it, and looking to buy it. I find most of the time my investors that I deal with are family private offices. They could be small business owners. And in some cases, they're just, somebody that's saved up quite a bit and partnering up with some friends to make their investment purchase. So investors are kind of all in between, but believe it or not, most apartment buildings and most commercial real estate under $20 million is privately held real estate. And that trades across the country all the time. You're really not always going to see a for sale sign because not all properties have a for sale sign on the open market. But that's why you got, commercial real estate agents like myself and those out there, my colleagues that are in the trenches to help them find property. But this may be a good opportunity for somebody to diversify their holdings or do a 1031 exchange into a property like this. Thanks for watching the video. I hope it was helpful to give you an idea what a turnkey property is, why somebody would purchase it, and give you a little bit idea of some turnkey properties in West Los Angeles. Of course, all markets are different, and you can find a turnkey property in just about any market, right? A turnkey property, again, is something that is stabilized. The rents are pretty close to market, and there isn't really any deferred maintenance. So an investor is going to buy that property and keep it status quo, move on in and take care of that property and add it to their portfolio and just enjoy the cash flow. They can manage themselves or hire an outside management company. I hope that was helpful. Be sure to subscribe, smash that like button, and comment below if there's a topic you want me to discuss. Of course, my contact information is below. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Again, this is Anthony Rodriguez. Thank you for watching Investing in the Real World. Take care and stay safe.